Did your high school sweetheart work out after graduation? When I was 17, I thought Liam and I would be together forever. We dated all through high school, and unlike other teenage couples, we actually had a plan. He'd go to college for engineering, while I worked at my dad's company, learning the family business. Then we'd get married, start our own company together, and build something great. The summer after graduation, everything was perfect. We worked summer jobs, saved money, and spent every free moment together. My parents even let him move into our guest house since his family was struggling financially. He promised to help with bills once he started college in the fall. 2 weeks before his classes started, Liam lost his scholarship. The university made a mistake calculating his GPA. He was devastated. I suggested he take community college classes while appealing the decision, but he had a different idea. His cousin owned a successful construction company in Texas and offered him an apprenticeship. The pay was amazing, enough to help his family and save for college. I was heartbroken but supportive. We promised to make long-distance work. For the first month, we video chatted every night. He'd tell me about learning the trade, and I'd share stories from my business classes. But slowly, the calls got shorter. He was always tired from working in the heat. Then they became every other day. Then weekly 3 months in, he called excited about a promotion. They wanted him to lead his own crew, but he'd need to transfer to their Austin office. Better pay, more opportunities. I congratulated him while fighting back tears. The day he moved, he promised nothing would change. That weekend, he didn't call. His texts were short. When I finally reached him Sunday night, a girl answered his phone. "Oh, you must be the high school girlfriend. Liam's in the shower. Want me to have him call you back?" I hung up and blocked his number. 2 days later, a mutual friend sent me screenshots from the girl's Instagram. Photos of them together going back 2 months. Captions about finding love at work. Comments from Liam saying she was his soulmate. I threw myself into work determined to forget him. A year passed. Then one night, my dad called me into his office. "Remember that construction company in Texas you researched last month? The one undercutting all our bids?" I nodded. They'd stolen 3 major contracts from us. "Well, look who's running their estimating department." He turned his screen to show me their website. There was Liam, listed as chief estimator, the same position I'd been training for. That's when it clicked. All those late-night video calls where I excitedly shared what I was learning. The questions about how we calculated bids. He wasn't being supportive. He was gathering intelligence. I pulled up their recent bids. The numbers were eerily familiar. They matched our pricing formulas exactly, just slightly lower. He'd spent months studying our business, then used that knowledge to steal our clients. I showed my dad everything. The timestamps of our calls matched perfectly. With when they started undercutting us, we had enough evidence to prove corporate espionage. 2 days later, my dad's lawyers sent letters to their board of directors. Within a week, Liam was fired. His girlfriend dumped him publicly on Instagram, calling him a snake. His cousin's company lost their biggest contracts. Last month, Liam tried reaching out through a burner account. He'd lost everything. His job, his reputation, his relationship. He was moving back home, hoping to reconnect with his first love. I forwarded the message to his ex-girlfriend, along with proof he'd been trying to contact me. She posted screenshots of everything, including texts where he'd promised her she was the only one he'd ever loved. Now he's back in our hometown, working as a day laborer on construction sites. When I was 17, I believed Liam and I would be together forever. Our high school relationship was serious and future-focused, unlike most teenage romances. We made plans. He would study engineering at college, and I would work in my dad's company to learn the family business. Our dream was to marry young, start a company together, and build a successful life side by side. The summer after graduation seemed perfect. We both got summer jobs, saved every penny, and spent nearly every free moment together. Liam's family was struggling financially, so my parents generously allowed him to move into our guest house. He promised to contribute to bills once school started in the fall. I trusted him completely, but just 2 weeks before college, everything changed. Liam lost his scholarship due to a GPA calculation error by the university. He was devastated. I suggested community college classes while appealing the decision, but his cousin in Texas offered him an apprenticeship at his construction company. The pay was excellent, enough to support his family and save for college later. Though heartbroken, I supported Liam's decision. We promised to make long-distance work. For the first month, we video called every night. He told me about learning the trade. I shared stories of my business classes. But slowly, the calls became shorter, less frequent. His work wore him down, and the heat in Texas was draining. 3 months in, Liam called, excited about a promotion. He would lead his own crew, but had to transfer to the Austin office. Better pay and opportunities awaited. I congratulated him while holding back tears. The day he moved, he promised nothing would change. But the weekend passed with silence. When I finally reached him, a woman answered the phone. "You're the high school girlfriend? Liam's in the shower. Want me to have him call you back?" I hung up and blocked him. 2 days later, a mutual friend sent screenshots from the woman's Instagram. Photos of them together from 2 months prior, captions about finding love at work, and Liam calling her his soulmate. Crushed, I threw myself into work, determined to forget him. A year went by. Then one evening, my dad called me into his office. "Remember that Texas construction company undercutting us?" I nodded. He showed me their website, where Liam was listed as chief estimator, the same role I had been training for. It clicked. All those late-night calls where I enthusiastically shared bid calculations? Liam was gathering intelligence. There. Bids matched our pricing formulas exactly, but slightly undercut ours, strategically stealing our clients. The timestamps of our video calls lined up with when the company began undercutting us. Dad's lawyers acted fast. 2 days later, legal letters were sent to the company's board. Within a week, Liam was fired. His girlfriend publicly dumped him on Instagram, calling him a snake. His cousin's company lost their major contracts. Last month, Liam reached out using a burner account. He lost everything: job, reputation, relationship. He was moving back home, hoping to reconnect with his first love. I forwarded his messages and evidence to his ex-girlfriend. She exposed him with screenshots, including texts promising she was the only one he ever loved. Now, Liam is back in town, working as a day laborer at construction sites. What started as a promising high school romance ended in betrayal, heartbreak, and tough life lessons. I emerged stronger and ready to build my own future on my terms. Story 2. She texted, "I need space to find myself." After 5 years together, I replied, "Take all you need." When she found herself homeless after I sold the house, she didn't know I owned a loan. Space became abundant. I, 29, male, got a text from my girlfriend, Natalie, 27 3 weeks ago, that basically nuked my entire world. We'd been together 5 years, living in what she thought was our rental house for the last 3. The text came while I was at work on a Tuesday. "Connor, I need space to find myself. This isn't about you. It's about me discovering who I really am outside of this relationship. I'm staying with Brianna for a while. Please don't contact me." 5 years. 5 years. And she ends it with a text, not even the decency of a phone call. Here's what Natalie didn't know. The house we lived in, I bought it 4 years ago when my grandmother passed and left me enough for a down payment. I never told Natalie because early in our relationship, she made several comments about how she could never be with someone who flaunted wealth and how she valued authentic connections over material things. So, I kept it simple. Told her I found a great rental deal through a family friend. She paid me $600 monthly for her half of rent, which I put straight toward the mortgage. After getting her text, I sat in my car for an hour, just processing. Then I went home to find exactly what I expected. She'd taken all her stuff while I was at work. Her closet empty, her bathroom stuff gone. Even took the damn coffee maker she bought us last Christmas. Left her key on the kitchen counter, though. How thoughtful. I texted back, "Take all the space you need." Then I did what any reasonable person would do. I called my real estate agent, Buddy Trevor. See, I'd been thinking about selling anyway. The neighborhood had gentrified like crazy, and houses were selling for 70% more than what I paid. Trevor came by that evening. We ran the numbers and even after capital gains and realtor fees, I'd clear about $140K profit. "How fast can we move?" I asked. "Market's hot. Price it right. Could have offers in days, but don't you need to give your girlfriend notice, or ex-girlfriend, and she moved out today?" Trevor just nodded. "We listed it Thursday. Here's where it gets interesting." Natalie had been posting all over Instagram about her journey of self-discovery and brave decision to prioritize her authentic self. Lots of sunset photos with inspirational quotes. Her friends were eating it up, commenting, "See, like, yes, queen, and so proud of you for choosing yourself." Meanwhile, I was scheduling viewings. Got 4 offers by Sunday. Accepted one for $15K over asking, closing in 30 days. I found a decent 1-bedroom apartment closer to work, put down a deposit and started packing. That's when Brianna, Natalie's best friend who she's staying with, texted me. "Hey Connor, Nat wanted me to ask if you guys are paid up through next month on rent. She needs to know for budgeting." I replied, "The house situation is handled. She doesn't need to worry about it." 20 minutes later, my phone exploded. Natalie calling. I didn't answer. Then Brianna calling. Ignored. Then the text started rolling in. "Natalie, what do you mean the house situation is handled?" "Connor, please answer. I know I said I needed space, but this is about logistics." "Connor," I finally replied, "you asked for space and no contact. I'm respecting your wishes. The house situation doesn't concern you anymore." She tried calling 14 more times that night. I turned off my phone and went to see a movie. Update 1. Escalated fast. Natalie showed up at my work yesterday. Ambushed me in the parking lot as I was leaving for lunch. Brianna was with her sitting in the driver's seat of her car like a getaway driver. "We need to talk," Natalie said. She looked rough, hair in a messy bun, bags under her eyes, wearing the same college sweatshirt she'd had since we met. "You asked for no contact," I said, keeping walking toward my car. "That was about emotional stuff. This is about where we live." I stopped. "Where we live? You moved out, remember? You're living your authentic life with Brianna now. I was taking temporary space. I was always planning to come back once I figured things out. You can't just, what did you do with our house?" "There is no our house, Natalie. You ended our relationship via text. You moved out. You have no house." Her face went white. "What about my stuff? My furniture? You took all your stuff when you left." "What furniture? The couch I bought? The bed I bought? The TV I bought?" See, Natalie had this habit of saying, "We bought things," when really I bought them. She'd contribute like $20 toward a $800 couch and call it ours. I never corrected her because, well, I thought we were building a life together. You can't just kick me out. I have rights. I've been paying rent for 3 years, and you got to live in a nice house for 3 years. That rental agreement ended when you ended our relationship and moved out. Brianna got out of the car at this point. This is financial abuse. You're leaving her homeless. She left herself homeless when she chose to move out. I'm not her landlord. I was her boyfriend. She ended that. She made adult choices. These are adult consequences. I got in my car and left. They followed me for like 3 blocks before giving up. That night, the social media campaign started. Natalie posted this long thing about how I was financially manipulating her and using housing as a weapon. Her friends were going off in the comments. Someone even found my LinkedIn and started messaging my coworkers about what a piece of I am. I didn't respond to any of it, but I did call my lawyer friend for advice. He laughed his ass off when I told him the story and said, "Dude, she has zero legal standing." She was essentially a month-to-month tenant who voluntarily vacated. You're golden. Then Natalie's mom called me. We'd always gotten along well, so I actually answered. "Connor, honey, what's going on?" Natalie is hysterical. She says you're selling her home. "Hi, Mrs. Rodriguez." Natalie ended our relationship and moved out. I'm moving forward with my life. But where will she live? That's something she should have considered before ending a 5-year relationship over text message. Long pause. She did what? Yeah. Natalie hadn't told her mom the full story. I forwarded her the screenshot of the breakup text. She was quiet for a moment, then said, "I'll talk to her." Update 2. The entitlement has reached astronomical levels. So, the house closed yesterday. Smooth as butter. Check deposited. I'm officially moved into my new apartment. It's smaller, but honestly, it feels like freedom. No memories of Natalie in every corner. But let me back up to what happened this week. First, Natalie tried the sympathy route. She had her sister Veronica text me this sobbed story about how Natalie was processing trauma and deserved housing stability during her healing journey. I didn't respond. Then came the threats. Brianna's boyfriend, some wannabe tough guy named Dominic, called me talking about how real men don't do this to women and how I needed to make this right. I asked if he was threatening me. He backpedaled real quick, recorded the whole call just in case, but the best part, Natalie tried to break into the house. Yeah, you read that right. I was there doing final cleaning before closing when I heard someone at the front door lock, turning, doctor opening. Natalie walked in with a locksmith behind her. "What the hell are you doing?" I asked. "I live here. I lost my key and needed the locks changed." The locksmith looked confused. I showed him my driver's license with a different address, my new apartment, and the closing documents showing the house was sold. "Ma'am, I can't change locks on a property you don't own," he said. "I've lived here 3 years. Check the records." "That's not how property ownership works," the locksmith said, already backing toward the door. Natalie lost it. Full meltdown, screaming about how I stole her home, how she'd paid thousands in rent, how I was a manipulative bastard. The locksmith bounced. I started recording on my phone. "You need to leave. Natalie, you're trespassing. This is my home." "No, it was the house you rented a room in from your ex-boyfriend. You ended the relationship. You moved out. This conversation is over." She actually sat down on the floor like a toddler. "I'm not leaving. I called the cops, told them my ex-girlfriend was trespassing in a house I just sold and refusing to leave. They arrived in 10 minutes. Natalie tried to tell them she was a tenant, but when they asked for proof, lease, mail, anything, she had nothing. All her mail had been going to Brianna's for weeks because she'd officially changed her address when she moved out. You know, during her journey of self-discovery, the cops made her leave. She was cry-screaming threats about suing me, calling me every name in the book. The female officer pulled me aside and said, "You might want to consider a restraining order." That night, I got a text from a number I didn't recognize. "This is Brianna's mom. I know you don't know me, but I need you to know that Brianna can't support Natalie much longer. She needs to find a place ASAP. Could you at least help her with a deposit somewhere?" The Pontryu audacity. I didn't reply. Then came the real kicker. Natalie made a GoFundMe. Help me escape financial abuse with this whole fictional story about how her ex locked her out of her home with no warning, how she'd been gaslit into believing the house was a rental, and how she was now homeless because of my narcissistic manipulation. She raised $300 before someone who knows me reported it with screenshots of her finding herself posts showing she voluntarily left. GoFundMe shut it down. Update 3. So Natalie's dad reached out. Mr. Rodriguez was always a straight shooter. So I took his call, Connor, I'm not calling to yell at you. I want to understand what happened. I sent him everything. The breakup text, her Instagram posts about leaving to find herself, the timeline of when she moved out versus when I listed the house. All of it. He was quiet for a long time. Then she told us you kicked her out for another woman. What? No. She ended things and moved out. I'm not even dating anyone. Jesus Christ. This girl, Connor. I'm sorry. We raised her better than this, or thought we did. He told me they'd offered to let her move home, but she refused because her childhood bedroom was toxic to her growth or some biait siestarikisi. She wanted them to pay for an apartment instead. They said no. Meanwhile, my LinkedIn was getting bombed by fake profiles calling me an abuser. I had to make it private. 2 of Natalie's friends showed up at my new building looking for my apartment number, but the doorman wouldn't let them up. Thank God for building security. Then, fence got real stupid. Natalie tried to claim we were common law married. She actually went to a lawyer. This lawyer then contacted me talking about division of assets and spousal support. I forwarded everything to my lawyer friend, who literally laughed so hard he choked on his coffee. Our state doesn't even recognize common law marriage. But even if it did, we didn't meet any of the requirements. We never filed taxes together, never had joint accounts, never presented ourselves as married. She was grasping at straws. My lawyer sent back a cease and desist letter and threatened to countersue for harassment. Their lawyer dropped her as a client. That's when Natalie played her final card. She claimed she was pregnant. Text message at 2 a.m. Connor, I'm pregnant. We need to talk about our future. Funny thing about that, I had a vasectomy 2 years ago. Never told her because I was planning to reverse it when we were ready for kids. But after her little finding, her self-adventure, I was real glad I had it done. I replied, interesting since I'm sterile. Congratulations on the miracle affair. Either way, not my problem. Radio silence for 3 days. Then she admitted she wasn't pregnant. She was just desperate and made a mistake. Brianna kicked her out after that. Apparently, even she has limits. Final update. It's been 2 months now since Natalie texted me about needing space. Figured I'd give you all one last update. Natalie ended up moving back with her parents. From what I hear, through the grapevine, she's working at her mom's dental office as a receptionist and absolutely hating it. Her Instagram went from self-discovery journey posts to completely dead. Her last post was 6 weeks ago, a quote about learning from life's challenges. The comments were not supportive. Her friend group basically imploded. After the pregnancy lie came out, even her ride-or-die friends started distancing themselves. Brianna actually reached out to apologize to me for her part and everything, said she didn't know about the house ownership thing, and felt used by Natalie. I told her, no hard feelings, but please lose my number. The best part, remember that $600 a month she was paying me for rent? I had every single payment in a separate savings account. Was planning to use it for our wedding someday. Instead, I donated it all to a local homeless shelter. Posted the receipt on Instagram with the caption, supporting people who actually need housing assistance. Petty maybe. Satisfying? Absolutely. My new apartment is great. Closer to work, modern amenities, and 0 memories of someone who threw away 5 years over a quarter-life crisis. Started dating a woman from my gym last week. She actually sends good morning texts instead of manifesto about finding herself. Natalie tried reaching out one more time last week. Long email about how she learned and grew from the experience and how she hopes we can be friends someday. Also, mentioned she was struggling financially and how karma had come full circle. I didn't reply, but I did forward it to her dad with a note. You might want to talk to her about taking accountability. He replied, we're working on it. Sorry again for everything, Connor. For everyone asking if I feel bad. No, not even a little. She wanted space to find herself. She got all the space in the world. She wanted to discover who she was outside our relationship. Turns out she's a manipulative, entitled person who thought she could have her cake and eat it too. Play stupid games. Win stupid prizes. She played herself right out of a home, a relationship, and a future. And the only person she can blame is the one she sees in the mirror during her self-discovery journey. I'm done with this chapter. New apartment, new chapter, new life, and it's pretty fantastic. Thanks for following along with this Insanity Reddit. Remember, when someone shows you who they are, believe them. And when they text you that they need space, give them exactly what they asked for.